Oh, holding them in the wrong hands. There we go. My hands are now aligned properly. So, I've had this idea for a while now. I thought, you know, I'd have a few drinks and read some books in Skyrim, and I never got round to doing that. But now Skyrim VR is here, in a virtual space. Look at how high the ceiling is. Everything's cool and virtual. So, I've decided to settle down at a nice inn. This is the Winking Skeever in Solitude.
This is an ode to Skyrim's staunch protectors, the Imperials. We drink to our youth, to the
and she's singing.
For the age of aggression.
She's singing some ditties. Strange thing is, most of the bards in Skyrim can actually sing quite well, but she doesn't sing very well, which is kind of funny. That guy's loving it though. Look at him. You can get him as a companion. Fuck knows what his name is. Down with Ulfric, the killer of kings, and so on. So anyway, I'm here in the Winking Skeever, sat down. Well, I was going to sit down by the hearth, but if I sit down in the chair and then I bring up the book menu, there's a big black background, and that's not what I want. I want to have the nice fire in the background. Maybe Uthgerd stood there. She was there, but I moved her by accident. So, if I do that, can I get you to wait there? Wait there.
Will do.
Thank you.
That it?
Okay then. So, yeah, this stream isn't going to be... It is not going to be a 2-hour stream or anything. At most, it'll be 45 minutes, because I'm just going to read some books. And let's have a go. So, I spent a couple of hours looking for books. I got the Lusty Argonian Maid, Volume 1, and I ended up getting 3 of the Volume 2, which was kind of annoying, because the guide I was reading to tell me where they were didn't tell me that 2 of those were Volume 2, but whatever. So I got a bunch of books. Now, I don't know if I've even read the Lusty Argonian Maid. I'm aware of it, but I don't think I've ever read it. I've read Beggar Prince, A Game at Dinner, that's good. I haven't read Withershins, but I posted a post to Skyrim subreddit earlier on Reddit, asking people to recommend books for me to read while drunk. So, Withershins was the first response. So I'm going to read Withershins, and it actually is a restoration book. When I picked it up, I went up a level in restoration, so that's pretty cool. So let's have a gander at Withershins. Let's fucking go. See, this is what I wanted. I wanted to have the book open, as huge as it is right now, it's pretty big, and have the background available, which couldn't happen when I was sat down there, because the table was in the way, so it blacked out the background, and that was kind of annoying. So let's fucking go. So, Withershins by Yakut Tawashi. Alright, said... What is that? Kazagar. Alright, said Kazagar. Why don't you want to talk? I mean, what is that? If that's a Z... is that Zaki? That's a 3. 3-A-R-I. But I think that's meant to be J-A-K-I? Question mark? So, Kajik... half of these aren't even letters. Look, that's a 3. Is that an R or an F or both? Who knows? I'm just going to treat the 3s like they were J's. Okay. Alright, said Kajikar. Why don't you want to talk? Jackie put down his mug of mead and just stared at his wife for a few seconds. Finally, grudgingly... Because everything I have a Wait, that doesn't seem right. Because everything I have a conversation, darling, it flows... Because everything I have I think that's meant to say because every time I have a conversation. God, typos in the Elder Scrolls. What is this? Because every time I have a conversation, darling, it flows in alphabetical order, just like I told you. I think the only way to stop it is to not talk at all. That doesn't seem to make sense. Couldn't you just be imagining this? Said Kajikar patiently. Shannon Smith is here. Withershins is the oddest story. Oh no, I didn't quite have enough time to read that. Let me have a quick gander. Where are we? Broadcast. Comments. Withershins is the oddest story. Ending is nice though. Excellent. Okay. Well, yeah. I've never read Withershins, so let's press on. Also, hi to you. Where are we? Couldn't you just imagine that? Wait, couldn't you just be imagining this? Said Kajika. Okay, so help me. That 3, is that a J or a Z? Because it looks like it should be Kazakar, because Kajika doesn't really sound right. Whatever. Couldn't you just be imagining this? Said Kajika patiently. It wouldn't be the first time you had an insane paranoid delusion. Remember when you thought the royal battle mage of Black Marsh was hiding behind every tree with lewd intent on making you, a middle-aged, fat, balding tailor, into his personal sex slave? What the fuck book is this? The guy that recommended this, he picked a good one. You don't need to be ashamed, but it's Sheogorath. Oh man, as soon as you mention that name, people know what's up. Just in case anyone doesn't know, Sheogorath is the Daedric Prince of Madness. So yeah, that sort of sets the tone for the future of this tale. You don't need to be ashamed, but it's Sheogorath's way. Oh, told you, says Shannon Smith. Yeah, I'll tell you what, yeah. Okay, you did tell me. This is a beautiful thing. But it's Sheogorath's way to make us all a little crazy sometimes. If you go to the healer... ... Damn it, Kazakar, snarled Jackie, and stomped out... Jackie, is that Zaki? 3 Aki? I don't know. Damn it, Kazakar, snarled Jackie, and stomped out, slamming the door behind him. Slam. He nearly collided with Siazet, his neighbor. Excuse me, she said to Jackie's back. He clamped his hands over his ears as he stormed down the street, like a child. I love the turning of the pages in VR mode. It's fucking awesome. Just in case you guys haven't gotten the gist yet, based on my previous streams, I love Skyrim. I love VR. Couldn't believe it when they finally announced Skyrim VR was going to happen. Here we are. It's all beautiful and everything in 3D and all the usual shit I keep saying. Turning the corner to his tailor shop. His first customer was waiting out front, smiling widely. Jackie tried to keep his temper under control and took out his keys, returning the customer's smile. Fine day, said the young man. Gods, hollered Jackie, sending the young man flying with a well-paced punch. Okay, no. For-boom! Punch! And dashing away. Wait, hang on. Gods, hollered Jackie, sending the young man flying with a well-placed punch and dashing away. Who dashed away? Jackie or the guy or the young man? Who knows? As much as he hated to admit that Kazakar was right, it was evidently time, once again, for one of the healer's herbal cocktails. Tarsu's temple to health, mental and physical, was several streets north, an impressive obelisk. Halka, the chief herbalist, met him before he came to the hall. How are you today, Sajaki Saf? What the half of this isn't even English. I need to make an appointment with Tarsu, said Jackie in his calmest voice. I need to make an appointment with Tarsu, said Jackie in his calmest voice. Just one moment. Let me see how his schedule looks. So I can't believe I just fucking said it like that. I'll pronounce that word properly. Just one moment. Let me see how his schedule looks, Halka said, looking over a scroll. Is this an emergency? Kind of, said Jackie, and slapped his head. Why couldn't he say yes, or absolutely, or sure? Let's see, said Halka, frowning. The best I can do is next Midas. Would that work for you? Midas? Cried Jackie. I'll be a complete psychotic by Midas. Isn't there anything earlier? Oh, so I guess it is an emergency, but that's why he wanted to say yes, but he couldn't for some reason. Probably because he's mad. He knew what the answer would be before she said it. Whoosh. There was no alternative. In a way, he had forced the response. If only he had kept the conversation going until... No, said Halka. I'm sorry. Do you want me to make the appointment? Jackie walked away, gritting his teeth. He wandered the streets, his head down to avoid all conversations, until he looked up and discovered that he had walked all the way to the wharf. A sweet breeze was blowing along the water, and he took several deep breaths. Come on, we've all done the yoga in GTA 5, haven't we? That was oddly relaxing, doing the yoga in GTA 5. If you breathe as they breathe in the yoga in GTA 5, it's actually strangely relaxing. Gritting his teeth, head down, pumpity-pom. The breeze blowing out, pumpity-pom. Fucking lost where I was going. And he took several deep breaths until he felt almost normal. When his temper cooled, he could think again. What if this alphabetical conversation wasn't a delusion at all? What if what he felt wasn't paranoia, but acute awareness? I got some sort of notification, but I can't see it. He knew it was the classic dilemma. Am I crazy? Or is there really something weird going on? That's paranoia. Across the road was a shop called Paradox. Ha, get it? Paradox? Featuring a display of herbs, crystals, and vapors trapped in orbs. The sign in the window read, Mystical Consultations, sunrise to noon. It was worth a shot, though Jackie was dubious. The only people who generally came down the wharf for healing were stupid adventurers who didn't know any better. Incense burned in copious billows of pink and gold, obscuring and then revealing the clutter within. Gigic death masks glowered down from the walls, smoking censers hung by chains from the ceiling, and the floor was a maze of bookshelves. At a well-worn table in the back, a small man wearing a headdress was tabulating a young lady's purchases. "Okay," said the man, "your total comes to 57 gold pieces. I threw in the restorative scale conditioner for free. Just remember, the candles should be lit only after you invoke Goraflox, the unholy, and Mandrake root does best in partial shade." It's like, this is just word salad now. I suspect the rest of it is going to be word salad with it being influenced by Sheogorath. Why is it all... It's all going low frame rate for some reason. The customer gave a quick shy smile to Jackie and left the store. "Please help me," said Jackie. "Every conversation I bear or get involved in seems to be arranged alphabetically. See, that doesn't make sense because E does not come before C. So how is that alphabetical? I don't get it. Unless... Yeah, look, please help me begins with a P. Every conversation begins with an E. So where's the alphabetical they keep talking about? I don't know if I'm going insane, or if there are some kind of bizarre forces at work. To be honest with you, I'm normally a skeptic when it comes to your type of business, but I'm at the end of my rope. Can you do anything to make this madness end?" "Quite a common problem, actually," said the man, patting Jackie on the arm. "That's not where my hand is. My hand's way over here. Am I in the wrong place?" "Here we go," said the man, patting Jackie on the arm. "When you get to the end of the alphabet, do conversations then go reverse alphabetical order or start at the beginning of the alphabet?" There's a question mark there, but it doesn't sound like a question. "Reverse alphabetical order," said Jackie, and then corrected himself. "Damn it! I mean, starts from the beginning, all over again. I'm in agony. Can you call on the spirits and tell me, am I insane? This book is making me feel like I'm insane, I'll tell you that much." "Sariki," said the man with a reassuring smile. "I don't have to, you're quite sane." "Thank you," said Jackie, frowning. "By the way, my name's Jackie, not Sariki." "Unusually close, eh?" said the man, patting Jackie on the arm. "Why does he... on the back. My name's Octoplasm, okay? What is that? A Nord name? Follow me, please. I think I have just what you need." Octoplasm led Jackie down the... This is... I can sense this is just going to become a word salad. Octoplasm led Jackie down the narrow corridor behind the desk. The two men pushed past dusty cabinets filled with strange creatures and liquids, past heaps of Neolithic stones, past stack after stack of mouldering leather-bound books, into the dank heart of the store. There he picked up... See, that looks like a B, but it's not, it's a H. There he picked up a small, squat, cylindrical drum and a book, and handed them to Jackie. "Vampirism, Daedric Possession, and Withershin Therapy," said Jackie, squinting his eyes. Oh no, sorry, I thought that was the shopkeeper reading it. Okay. "Vampirism, Daedric Possession, and Withershin Therapy," said Jackie, squinting his eyes to read the book in the gloom. "What in oblivion does this have to do with me? I'm not a vampire. Look at this tan. And what's Withershin Therapy, and how much will it cost me?" "Withershins, from the old Cyrodiilic withersigns, which means backwards," said Octoplasm in a serious tone. Okay, let me do that in a serious tone. "Withershins, from the old Cyrodiilic withersigns, which means backwards," said Octoplasm in a serious tone. "It's the art of reversing the direction of things in order to gain access to the spirit world, and break curses, cure vampirism, and trigger all manners of apotropaic healing. You know the story about the guy who was told that slaughterfish live in hot water, so he said, well, let's boil them in cold water." Boil them in cold water. Okay, Sheogorath is clearly in that line. "Xenophus," said Jackie instinctively, his brother having taken a rather esoteric upper-level course in Cyrodiilic philosophy as an elective in the Imperial College 31 years before, and immediately wishing he hadn't. "And what do you do with this cylindrical thingy?" Octoplasm lit a candle and held the object over it so that Jackie could see more clearly. All along the cylinder were narrow slits, and when Jackie peered within them, he saw a succession of old black and white drawings of a marked man leaping over boxes, one frame after the next. "You spin it like so," whoosh, said Octoplasm, slowly whirling the device. clockwise, so the man within leapt over the boxes over and over again. It's called a Joe-trope. I'm assuming that 3 is a J. It could be zoetrope. In fact, that's probably what it is, but I'm still going to call that a J. It's called a Joe-trope. Pretty neat, eh? Now, you take it and start spinning it counterclockwise, and while you're doing it, read this incantation I've marked in the book. Jackie took the Joe-trope and began spinning it counterclockwise over the console? Over the candle. Where's the candle? There's the candle. I can't reach it, though. It's too far away. So the little naked man... Hold on. So the little naked man within seemed to bound backwards over the boxes, like this. I didn't realize the guy inside was naked, but whatever. It took a little coordination and concentration to keep whirling at a steady pace, but gradually the man's awkward and jerky back jumps became more and more fluid until Jackie could no longer see the individual frames flipping. That's how animation works, folks. It looked just like a little humanoid hamster on an endless reverse treadmill. While he continued to spin the Joe-trope with one hand, Jackie took the book... I'm certain that's not a J, but whatever. Jackie took the book in the other and read the underlined passage. Joe-trope, counterspin. 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 Pull my life from the rut that's in... Pull my life from the rut that it's in. I invoke the goddess Boethia, Kinnereth, and Drysis. That's a new one on me. Drysis. To invert my potentially metaphysical crisis, my old life may have been rather pointless and plain, but I dislike the prospect of going insane. Make the pattern reverse by this Withershin, Joe-trope, counterspin, counterspin, counterspin. As he chanted the spell, Jackie noticed that the little naked man in the Joe-trope began to look more like himself. The mustache vanished and the hairline receded. The man's waistline expanded, and the buttocks sagged to the shape and texture of half-inflated balloons. Fun. Scales approximating his own Argonian pattern. Oh, I didn't even know he was Argonian. Scales approximating his own Argonian pattern appeared. The man began to trip as he bounded back... Oh, he's going backwards. Backwards, trip. Backwards, trip. Over the boxes, taking bigger breaths and sweating. By the time Jackie reached the end of the incantation, his twin was clutching his chest and trembling end over end over the boxes in a free roll. Kinda like this, but more imagination-filled. Octoplasm took the Joe-trope and the book from Jackie's hands. Nothing seemed to have changed. No thunder had rumbled, no winged serpents had sprung out of Jackie's head, no fiery explosions. But Jackie felt that something was different. Good different. Normal. At the counter, when Jackie pulled out his satchel of gold pieces, Octoplasm merely shook his head. Our treatment radicals such of effects term long... Okay, let me try. No charge. Naturally, we can't be sure what the long-term effects of such radical treatment are. See, yeah, I got your code worked out. You reverse it. Feeling the first real... Hold on. Okay. Feeling the first real relief he had felt in days, Jackie walked backwards out of the shop and down the road to his shop. Yeah, so he was going insane. Apparently he was speaking alphabetically. I didn't see any evidence of that. But now he spun the was it the Joe scope or whatever it fucking was? The Joe-trope. He spun it backwards, and it's basically like Superman flying around the Earth backwards. It just reversed time, so now everything's going backwards for him, which doesn't sound like a happy ending at all. Kind of sounds like a curse. So, sorry, I'm just going to have to go in here, because I forgot your name. Shannon Smith, of course. Shannon Smith, that's not much of a happy ending, but it was a mildly interesting book. So there's Withershins. Enough of that shit. So, next book. I mean, there's in keeping with the Sheogorath theme. Nope. In keeping with the Sheogorath theme, let's bust out some Wabberjack, shall we? First of all, let's have a good look at it. It's a nice green leather-bound book. No ornament or title or anything. Let's have a look. Wabberjack. I'm not even going to explain what the Wabberjack is. Little boys shouldn't summon up the forces of eternal darkness unless they have an adult supervising. I know. But on that sunny night, on the 5th of First Seed, I didn't want an adult. I wanted Hermaeus Mora, the Daedra of knowledge, learning, gums, weird, and varnishes. You see, I was told by a beautiful large-breasted man that lived under the library in my hometown that the 5th of First Seed was Hermaeus Mora's night, and if I wanted the Ogma Infinium, the Book of Knowledge, I had to summon him. When you're the new King of Solitude, every bit of knowledge helps. Oh, hold on. So was this written by Pelagius the Mad? It doesn't actually say who wrote it, but was it written by Pelagius the Mad? Because I believe Pelagius the Mad went mad with Sheogorath, whatever. Summon, pumpity-pum, every bit of knowledge helps. Normally, you need a witch's coven or a mage's guild or at least matching pillowcase and sheets to invoke a Prince of Oblivion. The man under the library showed me how to do it myself. He told me to wait until the storm was at its height before shaving the cat. I've forgotten the rest of the ceremony. It doesn't matter. Someone appeared who I thought was Hermaeus Mora. The only thing that made me somewhat suspicious was Hermaeus Mora, from what I read, was a big, blobby, multi-eyed, clawed monstrosity. Sidebar. Yes, that's what Hermaeus Mora looks like when you see him in the Solstheim DLC. Closed sidebar. And this guy looked like a waistcoated banker. Also, he kept calling himself Sheogorath, not Hermaeus Mora. Still, I was so happy to have successfully summoned Hermaeus Mora, these inconsistencies did not bother me. He had me do some things that didn't make sense to me, beyond the mortal scope, breadth, and ken, I suppose. Is that ken? Who cares? And then the servant happily gave me something he called the Wabberjack. Wabberjack, Wabberjack. Wabberjack. Wabberjack, Wabberjack. Wabberjack, 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 Wabberjack. Maybe the Wabberjack is the book of knowledge. Maybe I'm smarter because I know cats can be bats, can be rats, can be hats, can be gnats, can be thats, can be theses, or theses. And that doors can be bores, can be snores, can be floors, can be roars, can be spores, can be yours, can be mine. I must be smart, for the interconnective system is very clear to me. Then why, or wherefore, do people keep calling me mad? Wabberjack, Wabberjack, Wabberjack. Don't mind me, I'm just reading a book. Next page. There's no next pages. Okay. So yeah, the guy was given the Wabberjack after an encounter with Sheogorath, the Daedric Prince of Madness, and the guy clearly went mad. Interesting. That book was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. So, the Monomyth. I don't recognize this book, so let's give it a go. I stole it. Fuck knows where I stole it from. One of the Jarl's quarters. Let's have a gander. Actually, before we do, let's have a look at the drawing on the front, the intricate image. What is that? Some sort of sigil, I guess. Not much else to say about this book. Can I look behind it? I can, because virtual reality is awesome. Alright, let's open the book. The Monomyth. In Mundus, conflict and disparity are what bring change, and change is the most sacred of the elven forces. Change is the force without focus or origin. Oginthar, Tahirite, Order of Sig, is the fucking Sigic Order. Simply put, the schism in the human Aldmeri worldview is the mortal's relationship with the divine. Humans take the humble path that they were created by the immortal forces, while the Aldmer claim descent from them. It doesn't seem like much, but it is a distinction that colours the rest of their diverging mythologies. All Tamrielic religions begin with the same, man or Mer. Mer is elves, like, Dunmer, Altmer. I guess Orsimer? Do you count orcs as elves? Because they are Orsimer, they're kind of elves. Menomer, things begin with dualism and Anu and his other. These twin forces go by many names. Anu Padme, other Star Wars references, Anuel Sithis, oh look, Sithis, Akel Satakel, Isis apparently, Isis not, just to clarify. Anuel is the everlasting, ineffable light. Sithis is the corrupting, inexpressible action. In the middle is the grey, maybe, Nern, Nern in the Enlaflex? In most cultures, Anuel is honoured for his part of the interplay that creates the world, but Sithis is held in highest esteem because he's the one that causes the reaction. Sithis is thus the original creator, which kind of, I thought Lorcan was, but, whatever. An entity who intrinsically causes change, don't know where I got damage from, without design. Even his hist acknowledge this being, okay? Anuel is also perceived of, hang on, let me start again. Anuel is also perceived of as order, opposed to the Sithis chaos. Perhaps it is easier for the mortals to envision change than perfect stasis, for often Anuel is relegated to the mythic background of Sithis' fancies. In Yokundan folk tales, which are among the most vivid in the world, Satak is only referred to as a fuck's sake. It's almost like I'm drunk. Which are among the most vivid of the world, Satak is only referred to a handful of times as the Hum. I just hit something. I don't know what it is. It's my fan. He has a force so prevalent so as to not be really there at all, which doesn't really make much sense. In any case, from these two beings spring the Etada, or original spirits. To humans, these Etada are the gods and demons. To the Aldmer, the Aedra and Daedra, or the ancestors. All of the Tamrielic pantheons fill their rosters from these Etada, though divine membership often differs from culture to culture. Like Anu and Padme, though, every one of these pantheons contains the archetypes of the dragon god and the missing god. I don't know what the missing god is, but whatever. The dragon god and the missing god. The dragon god is always related to time, and is universally revered as the first god. See, that's kind of cool, because the dragons do sort of have control. I don't know if they have control of time, but they can use it like a tool. And is universally revered as the first god. He is often called Akatosh. Of course, Akatosh, old school dragon god, whose perch from eternity allowed the day. He is the central god of the Cyrodiilic Empire. The missing god is always related to the mortal plane, and is a key figure in the human-Alberi schism. The missing refers to either his palpable absence from the pantheon, another mental distress that is interpreted in a variety of ways, or the removal of his divine spark by the other immortals. He is often called Lorcan. I told you, the missing was Lorcan. Lorcan is like the main god, as far as I know. You've got all the other gods, like like Sheogorath, Mirrans, Dagon, Boethia, Hircine, all of that shit. And then you've got Lorcan. He's like the god. He's the one that created everything. And his epitaphs are many, equally damnable and devout. Note that Tamriel and the mortal plane do not exist yet. Note that. The grey maybe is still the playground of the original spirits. Some are more bound to Anu's light, others to the unknowable void. Their constant flux and interplay. This isn't a very fun story, is it? But still, it's like history. Their constant flux and interplay increase their number, and their personalities take long to congeal. When Akatosh forms, time begins, and it becomes easier. See, the dragon god forms, and then time begins. You know, the time, dragons, you know, they all mix. And it becomes easier for some spirits to realize themselves as beings with a past and a future. The strongest of the recognizable spirits materialize. Mephala, Arke, Ifra, don't know who that is, Magnus, Rupka, etc., etc. Others remain as concepts, ideas, or emotions. One of the strongest of these, a barely formed urge that the others call Lorcan, details a plan to create Mundus, the mortal plane. Humans, with the exception of the Red Guards, see this as a divine mercy, an enlightenment whereby lesser creatures can reach immortality. Aldmer, with the exception of the Dark Elves, see this as a cruel deception, a trick that sundered their connection to the spirit plane. How rude. Right, okay. Well, I was going to finish this book, but man, I really need the toilet. So I am just going to mosey for a minute. I'll be back in about a minute. Okay, put the headphones in, like that, grab this cable, fold it, put it in my pocket, because I don't want it dragging on the floor and such. I've decided I'm going to skip this book, because this book is definitely just a history lesson, and not actually any fun. I want to read fun books. Books with stories, rather than just, you know, just history, because that's just a history book. You lied to me. You made me think that you weren't history. You know what? Let's bust out the Argonian Maid. I mean, Beggar Prince I think is good, and A Game at Dinner is good, but the Lusty Argonian Maid is what I'll be busting out, because I went to effort to get both volumes. So, the Lusty Argonian Maid, Volume 1. Now, I believe there are 4 volumes. I think Volumes 3 and 4 are pretty hard to find. I've never really sought them out, but I gather they're pretty hard to find. The Lusty Argonian Maid, Volume 1, by Crassius Curio. Act 4, Scene 3, continued, which is a really weird place to start. Volume 1. I just wanted to make sure I was on Volume 1. It's a really weird place to start Volume 1. Lifts her tail. That sounds like a name. Okay, I see. So it's like a script. So you've got the name and then the dialogue. Name, dialogue. Okay, so lifts her tail is the name of a character. Okay. Certainly not, kind sir. I'm here but to clean your chambers. Is that all you have come here for, little one? My chambers? I have no idea what it is that you imply, master. I am but a poor Argonian maid. So you are, my dumpling, and a good one at that. Such strong legs and shapely tail. You embarrass me, sir. Fear not, you are safe here with me. I must finish my cleaning, sir. The mistress will have my head if I do not. Cleaning, eh? I have something for you. Here, clean my spear. But it is huge. It could take me all night. Plenty of time, my sweet. Plenty of time. That's kind of creepy. End of Act 4, Scene 3. Oh, what, really? That's it? I thought the Lusty Argonian Maid was going to be more than, like, a page long. Okay. So, Volume 2. The Lusty Argonian Maid, Volume 2, by Crassius Curio. Act 7, Scene 2, continued. My goodness, that's quite a loaf. But however should it fit in my oven? Like, I can see this is just a book of innuendos now. This loaf isn't ready for baking, my sweet. It has yet to rise. If only we could hurry that along, how would I accomplish such a task? Oh, my foolish little Argonian maid, you must use your hands. You wish me to knead the loaf? Here? That's not how you spell need, by the way. It's meant to be K-N-E-A-D. Come on. Come on! Don't you proofread this shit? Of course. Unless it's a deliberate misspelling to indicate that the guy who's writing it isn't particularly good at spelling. But, you know, I'm not gonna give them that much credit. Of course! I cue the, M. Bison from the Street Fighter movie. Of course! But what if the mistress catches me? Your loaf was meant to satisfy her appetite. Don't fret, my delicious flower. I'll satisfy the mistress's cravings later. Very well, but I'm afraid my oven isn't hot enough. It could take hours. Plenty of time, my sweet. Plenty of time. So that's his catchphrase. Man, okay, right. Well, they were so much shorter than I thought they were going to be. I need to find volumes 3 and 4. I've got to find how it ends. And if it ends with plenty of time, my sweet, plenty of time, I'm not going to be happy. I'm going to fucking, I don't know,
Death, we will drink and we'll
grab a cabbage and throw it at people. Why can't I grab that cabbage? Can I grab the pot? No, okay. I just wanted to throw stuff. That's all I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to do. So, Lusty Argonian Maid, done. You know what? Let's go to A Game at Dinner, because that is actually a good story. I remember this one. A game at... where's the wall? The wall's there, so I can step back a bit and then realign the camera. There we go. A Game at Dinner by an anonymous spy. Ooh, intrigue immediately. Forward from the publisher. The history behind this letter is almost as interesting and dark as the story it tells. The original letter to the mysterious Duanaye was copied and began circulating around the ashlands of Vivardenfell. Now, I never know... Oh, I see. If I hold them down that far, they're out of view of the camera. That's why they keep floating away like that. Anyway, I think it's pronounced Vardenfell, but there is clearly two... Where's the camera? Oh, okay, here we go. I was nowhere near in the right place. Right, let's try that again. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Vardenfell, but look, there's clearly two V's, so I'm just going to call it Vivardenfell. You know what? Fuck it. I'll call it Vardenfell. So yeah, I need to step closer to the camera to read it proper. But then my hands go all loopy because I'm too close to the camera. Anyway, Duanyo was copied... Hang on. The original letter to the mysterious Dornain, I'm going to call it Dornain, was copied and began circulating around the ashlands of Vardenfell a few months ago. In time, a print found its way to the mainland and Prince Hlalu's Helseth's palace outside Almalexia. While the reader may conclude after reading this letter that the prince would be furious about such a work, impugning his highness with great malevolence, quite the reverse was true. The prince and his mother, Queen Berenzia, or Berenzia, who knows how to pronounce it, and that confirms that the 3 is pronounced like a Z, so I was doing that whole other story incorrectly. Queen Berenzia, or I've always called it Berenzia, and no one ever mentions the name as far as I know, so I'll say that's how it's pronounced. Had it privately printed into bound... Look, it thinks my hand is over there, but it's not. It's over here. What kind of magic... It's because I got to stand so close to the goddamn... See, if I was playing the game normally, I'd be stood this far back. Let me reset the camera. Yeah, so I'm stood this far back. I still have to get close to read the fucking thing. Anyway, the prince's mother, Queen Berenzia, had it privately printed and bound copies sent to libraries and booksellers throughout Morrowind. As a matter of record, the prince and the queen have not officially stated whether the letter is a work of pure magic. Right, fuck this. Let's get to the actual story. Come on. Where is the actual story? No, maybe I've gone past it. Okay, let's carry on. Oh no, here we go, look. That's where the publisher's story ends. Right, so here we go. Dark Liege, Danuye, Donain, whatever. Have pronounceable names, for fuck's sake. You asked for a detailed description of my experience last night and the reasons for my plea to house Dress for another assignment. I hope I have served you well in my capacity as informant in the court of Prince Helseth, a man who I have stated in many... Fucking, I had a bit of trouble with that sentence. A man who I have stated in many previous reports could teach Molag Bal how to scheme. There's a scheming man. As you know, I've spent nearly a year now working my way into his inner circle of advisors. He was in need of friendship when he first arrived in Morrowind, and eagerly took me and a few others. Still, he was disinclined to trust any of us, which is perhaps not surprising given his tenuous position in Morrowind society. Trust me, this story does get good. For your unholiness's recollection, the prince is the eldest son of Berenzia, who was once the queen of Morrowind and once the queen of High Rock, kingdom of Wayrest. At the death of her husband, Prince Helseth's stepfather, Oh, this is like fucking medieval politics bullshit. King Idwire, there was a power struggle between the prince and Idwire's daughter, the Princess Elisana. Though details of what transpired are imperfect, it is clear that Elisana won the battle and became queen, banishing Helseth and Berenzia. Berenzia's only other child, Morgiath, had already left court to marry and become queen of the Somerset Isle, kingdom of Firsthold. Berenzia and Helseth crossed the continent to return to Morrowind only last year. They were well received by Berenzia's uncle, our current king, Hlalu Athin Lethan, and had taken the throne to Berenzia's abdication more than 40 years ago. Berenzia made it clear that she had no designs on reclaiming the throne, but merely to retire to her family estates. Helseth, as you know, has lingered in the royal court, and many have whispered that while he lost the throne of Wayrest, he does not intend to lose the throne of Morrowind at Lethan's death. I've heard your unholiness informed of the prince's movements, meetings, and plots, as well as the names and characters of his other advisors. As you may recall, I've often thought that I was not the only spy in Helseth's court. I told you before that a particular Dunmer councillor of Helseth looked like a fellow I had seen in the company of Thola Serjoni, the archcanon of the Tribunal Temple. This is a lot of, like, dark elf politics, I guess. Another, a young Nord woman, has been verified to visit the Imperial Fortress in Balmora. Of course, in their cases, they might as well have been on Helseth's own business, but I couldn't be certain. I had begun to think myself paranoid as the prince himself, when I found myself doubting the sincere loyalty of the prince's chamberlain, Burgess. A Breton who had been in his employ since the days of the court of Wayrest. That is the background on that night, last night. Okay, so hopefully this is where the actual story starts and not more preamble. Yesterday morning I received a curt invitation to dine with the prince. Based only on my own paranoia, I dispatched one of my servants, who is a good and loyal servant of the House Dress, to watch the palace and report back anything unusual. Just before dinner he returned and told me what he had witnessed. A man cloaked in rags had been given entrance into the palace and had stayed there for some time. When he left, my servant saw his face beneath the cloak, an alchemist of infamous repute, said to be leading suppliers of exotic poisons. A fine observer, my servant also noticed that the alchemist entered the palace smelling of wickweed and bittergreen and something alien and sweet. When he left, he was odorless, which is suspicious. He had come to the same conclusion I did. The prince had procured ingredients to prepare a poison. Bittergreen alone is deadly when eaten raw, but the other ingredients suggested something deeper. As your Unholiness can doubtly imagine... Doubtly? You know what I said. As your Unholiness can doubtless imagine, I went to dinner that night prepared for any eventuality. All of Prince Helseth's other councillors were in attendance, and I noticed that all were slightly apprehensive. Of course, I imagined that I was in a nest of spies, and all knew of the prince's mysterious meeting. It is just as likely that some knew of the alchemist's visit, while others were simply concerned by the nature of the prince's invitation, and still others merely unconsciously adopted the tense disposition that their fellow, better-informed councillors. The prince, however, was in fine mettle, and soon had everyone relaxed and at ease, as a good host should. At 9, we were all ushered into his dining hall, where the feast had been laid out. And what a feast! Honeyed gorapples, fragrant stews, roasts in various blood sauces, so just regular words, and every variety of fish and fowl expertly and ostentatiously prepared. Crystal and gold flagons of wine, Flynn, Shine, and Mazda were at our seats to be savoured as appropriate with each course. As tantalizing as the aromas were, it occurred to me that such a maze of spices and flavours, a discreet poison would be undetectable. Throughout the meal, I maintained the illusion of eating the food and drinking the liquor, but I was surreptitious. That's right, I can say that fucking word without stumbling, but I can't say other words that are simpler than surreptitious. How often do you read the word surreptitious? And swallowed nothing. Finally, the plates and food were cleared from the table, and the tureen of a spicy broth was placed in the centre of the banquet. The servant who brought it then retired, closing the banquet hall door behind him. "It smells divine, my prince," said the Marchioness Colgar, the Nord woman, "but I cannot eat another thing. Your Highness," I added, feigning a tone of friendliness and slight intoxication, "you know that every one of this table will gladly die to put you on the throne of Morrowind, but is it really necessary that we gorge ourselves to death?" The others at the table agreed with apprehensive groans. "Oh, yes, I agree, yes." Prince Helseth smiled. "I swear by Vermina, the Gifter, my dark liege, even you have never seen a smile such as this one. Ironic words. You see, an alchemist visited me today, as some of you already doubtless know. He showed me how to make a marvelous poison and its antidote. A most potent potion, excellent for my purposes. No restoration spell will aid you once you've ingested it. Only the antidote in the tureen will save you from certain death. And what a death! From what I've heard, I'm eager to see... And what a death, from what I've heard. I'm eager to see if the effects are all that alchemist... Okay, try again. I'm eager to see if the effects are all that the alchemist promised. It should be horribly painful for the afflicted, but quite entertaining." No one said a word. I could feel my heart beating hard in my chest, and I kind of wish you were playing music right now, but you're not. I could feel my heart beating hard in my chest. "Your Highness," said Alarat, the Dunmer I suspected of alliance with the temple, "have you poisoned someone at this table?" "You are very astute, Alarat," says Prince Helseth, looking about the table, like this, with his hands on his hips like this, looking around, going, "Yes, indeed. Some of you are guilty," said the Prince Helseth, looking about the table, eyeing each of his advisors carefully. "Little wonder I value your counsel, as indeed I value all in this room. It would be perhaps easiest for me to say who I haven't poisoned. I haven't poisoned any who serve but one master, any whose loyalty to me is sincere. I haven't poisoned any person who wants to see King Helseth on the throne of Morrowind. I haven't poisoned anyone who isn't a spy for the Empire, the Temple, the House of Telvanni, the House of Redoran, the House of Indoril, the House of Dress. Your Unholiness." He looked directly at me with his last words. The House of Dress. He looked at me with his last words. I know that in certainty my face is practiced at keeping my thoughts from showing. No, was it showing? Yeah, showing. But I immediately thought of every secret meeting I've had, every coded message I sent to you in the house, my dark liege. What could he know? What could he, even without knowing, suspect? I felt my heart beating even faster. Was it fear or poison? I couldn't speak, certain as I was that my voice would betray my calm facade. Those loyal to me who wished harm on my enemies may be wondering, how can I be certain that the poison has been ingested? Is it possible that the guilty party, or dare I say, parties, were suspicious and merely pretended to eat and drink tonight? Of course, but even the craftiest of pretenders would have to raise his glass to his or her lips and put empty forks or spoons in their mouths to play the charade. The food, you see, was not poisoned. The cups and cutlery were. Oh, you tricksy bastard. King Helseth or Prince Helseth, whatever you are, you truly are a schemer to give Molak Bal a run for his money. If you did not partake out of fear, you're poisoned just the same. And sadly, missed an excellent roast. Sweat beaded on my face. Oof, gotta wipe this sweat away from my face. I turned from the prince so that he would not see. Oh my, gotta wipe the sweat away from my face. My fellow advisors, all of them, were frozen in their seats. From the Marquioness Kolkar, white with fear, to Kima Inebi, they got ridiculous names, visibly shaking. From the furrowed, angry brow of Alarat to the statue-like stare of Burgess. I couldn't help thinking then that the prince's entire councilship be comprised of nothing but... could the prince's entire councilorship be comprised of nothing but spies? Was there any person at the table loyal? And then I thought, what if I were not a spy myself? what kind of tripping logic is that? You're poisoned, mate. And then I thought, what if I were not a spy myself? Would I trust Helseth to know that? No one knows better than his advisors both the depth of the prince's paranoia and the utter implacability of his ambition. Implacability? Who knows? If I were not a spy for the House of Dress, even then would I be safe? Could a loyalist be poisoned because of a not-so-innocent misjudgment? The others must have been thinking the same, loyalists and spies alike. While my mind whirled, I could hear the prince's voice addressing all assembled. The poison acts quickly. If the antidote is not taken within 1 minute from now, here will be death at the table. I couldn't decide whether I'd been poisoned or not. My stomach ached. But I reminded myself it might have been the result of sitting at a sumptuous banquet and not partaking. My heart shook in my chest. Nope, that's not good. Shaking. It's shaking good. And a bitter taste like trama root stung my lips. Again, was it fear or poison? These are the last words you will hear if you are These are the last words you will hear if you are disloyal to me, said Prince Helseth, still smiling, that damned smile as he watched the advisors squirming in their seats. Take the antidote and live. Could I believe him? I thought of what I knew of the prince and his character. Would he kill a self-confessed spy at his court, or would he rather send the vanquished back to his masters? The prince was ruthless, but either possibility was within his manner. Surely the theatricality of his whole dinner was meant to be a presentation to instill fear. What would my ancestors say if I joined them after sitting at a table, eventually dying of poison? What would they say if I took the antidote, confessing my allegiance to you and the house dress, and was summarily executed? Like, I knew that word, I just didn't recognize it. I was like, and was summarily executed. And I confess, I thought of what you might do to me even after I was dead. I had grown so lightheaded and filled with my own thoughts I didn't even see Burgess jump from his seat. I was only suddenly aware that he had the tureen in his hands and was gulping down the liquid within. There were guards all around, though I never noticed them entering. Burgess, said Prince Helseth, still smiling, you've spent some time at Ghostgate. House Redoran? You didn't know? No, you didn't know? Burgess laughed sourly. No, House. I report to your stepsister, the Queen of Wayrest. I've always been in her employ. By Akatosh, you poisoned me because you thought I was working for some damnable dark elves? You're half right, said the prince. I didn't guess who you were working for, or even that you were a spy. But you're also wrong about me poisoning you. You poisoned yourself when you drank from the tureen. Oh, sick plot. Where am I? I've got to position myself. There we go. Your Unholiness, you don't need to hear how Burgess died, but know that you have seen much over the many, many years of your existence, but you truly don't want to know. I wish I could erase the memory of his agonies from my own mind. The council was dismissed shortly thereafter. I do not know if Prince Helseth knows or suspects that I too am a spy. I do not know how many others that night, last night, were as close as I was from drinking the tureen before Burgess did. I only know that if the prince does not suspect me now, he will. I cannot win at the games he mastered long ago at the court of Wayrest, and I beg your unholiness, my dank liege, Dwayne, to use your influence in the house dress and dismiss your loyal servant from this charge. Publisher's note. Of course, the anonymous writer's signature has not been in any reprint of the letter since the original. And that is the end of that book. So yeah, that is A Game at Dinner, which is kind of funky. Right, what time are we looking at? 11:30. I will read one more book, and then the stream of unending comments will end. Right, I don't know how long a Beggar Prince is. But you know what? Let's fucking go. A Beggar Prince. Beggar Prince, the story of Weedle and his gifts from the Daedric Lord Nimira. That's right, Nimira. We look down upon the beggars of the Empire. These lost souls are the poor and wretched of the land. Every city has its beggars. Most are so poor they have only the clothes on their backs. They eat the scraps that the rest of us throw out. We toss them a coin so that we don't have to think too long about their plight. Actually, I toss them a coin so that A, they'll shut up, and B, they'll give me the gift of charity. Because I'm selfless like that. Imagine my surprise when I heard the tale of a beggar prince. I could not imagine what a prince of beggars would be. Here is the tale I heard. It takes place in the first age, when gods walked like men and Daedra stalking the wilderness with impunity. It is a time before they were all confined to oblivion, which is a great game. There was once a man named Weedle, and he was the guy from Zelda. The end. Or maybe it was a woman. The story goes to great lengths to avoid declaring Weedle's gender. Weedle was the 13th child of a king in Valenwood. As such, Weedle was in no position to take the throne or even inherit much property or wealth. Weedle had left the palace to find independent fortune and glory. Fortune and glory, friend. Fortune and glory. After many days of endless forest roads and tiny villages, Weedle came upon three men. Okay, I'm gonna read it as they wrote it. After many days of endless forest roads and tiny villages, Weedle came across three men surrounding a beggar. The beggar was swaddled in rags from head to toe. No portion of the vagabond's body was visible. The men were intent on slaying the beggar. With a cry of rage and indignation, Weedle charged the men with a sword drawn. Being simple townsfolk armed only with pitchforks and scythes, they got their asses fucking handed to them with a shining sword. Many thanks for saving me, wheezed the beggar from beneath the heap of foul rags. Weedle could barely stand the stench. What is your name, wretch? Weedle asked. I am Nimira. Unlike the townsfolk, Weedle was well learned. That name meant nothing to them, but to Weedle it was an opportunity. You're the Daedric Lord, Weedle exclaimed. Why did you allow those men to harass you? You could have slain them all with a whisper. I am pleased you recognize me, Nimira rasped. How do you rasp? I don't know how you rasp. I am pleased you recognized me. I didn't fucking know. I am frequently reviled by townsfolk. It pleases me to be recognized for my... No, wrong way. To be recognized for my attribute, if not for my name. Weedle knew that Nimira was the Daedric Lord of all things gross and repulsive. Diseases such as leprosy and gangrene were her domain. Where others might have been seen danger, Weedle saw opportunity. Oh, great Nimira, let me apprentice myself to you. I ask only that you grant me powers to make my fortune and forge a name for myself that will live through the ages. That's all I ask. It's not much, except I want fame and fortune. Fortune and glory. Nay, I make my way alone in the world. I have no need for an apprentice. Nimira shambled off down the road, much like this, shambling down the road. Weedle would not be put off. With a bound, Weedle was in Nimira's heel. He's like, look, a literal deity just told me no, but I'm going to chase her down and fucking harass her. That sounds like a good idea. With a bound, Weedle was at Nimira's heel, pressing the case for an apprenticeship. For 33 days and nights, Weedle kept up the debate. Amazingly, he wasn't murdered on the spot. Nimira said nothing, but Weedle's voice was ceaseless. Finally, on the 33rd day, Weedle was too hoarse to talk. Nimira looked back on the suddenly silent figure, like this. She's like, why are you silent? Weedle knelt in the mud at her feet. I contemplated kneeling then, but fuck it. knelt in the mud at her feet, open hands raised in supplication. Where are my hands? There they are. In supplication. Is this supplication? Good enough. It would seem you have completed your apprenticeship to me after all, Nimira declared. I shall grant your request. Weedle was overjoyed. Yay! I grant you the power of disease. You may choose to be afflicted with any disease you choose, changing them at will, so long as it has visible symptoms. However, you must always bear at least one. Scoliosis. I choose that one. I grant you the power of pity. You may evoke pity in anyone that sees you. Finally, I grant you the power of disregard. You may cause others to disregard your presence, which could be very useful as a thief. Weedle was aghast. He's like, oh my god, I didn't realize that a demon that literally grants you powers, that controls disease and repulsion could, I don't know, make me repulsive. You know, what kind of fool was he? These were not the boons from which fortune could be made. They were curses, each awful in its own right, but together they were unthinkable. How am I to make my fortune and forge a name for myself with these terrible gifts? As you begged at my feet for 33 days and 33 nights, so shall you now beg for your fortune in the cities of men. Your name will become legendary among the beggars of Tamriel. The story of Weedle, the prince of beggars, shall be handed... Well, they said they went to great lengths to hide the, to hide the gender of Weedle, and yet Prince kind of gives it away. It's a bloke, because otherwise it would be Princess of Beggars, wouldn't it? That just makes sense. Shall be handed down throughout the generations. It was as Nimira predicted. Weedle was an irresistible beggar. None could see the wretch without desperately wanting to toss a coin at the huddled form. However, Weedle also discovered that the power of disregard gave great access to the secrets of the realms. People unknowingly said important things where Weedle could hear them. Weedle grew to know the comings and goings of every citizen in the city. To this day, it is said that if you really want to know something, go ask the beggars. They have eyes and ears throughout the cities. They know all the little secrets of the daily lives of its citizens. That is a really, really long way to say homeless people know stuff. That's a long way to say that. And there we go. I read some books. I had some beer, and I read some books. One person commented. It was nice to see that those 3 comments from Shannon Smith. And yeah, I guess that's it then. I'm done with the stream. If you like what you see, I mean, I don't tend to make a habit of getting drunk and reading books on Skyrim, but you know, you can check out my channel. I got other stuff and things. And if you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you want to catch my live streams, you've got to hit the notification bell because I stream at random. I don't have any set schedule or anything like that. I stream at random. So hit the notification bell and then you'll be notified whenever I go live. That's a beautiful thing. What am I gonna do? I gotta finish on some sort of high note. Can I pick up this beef? I can pick up this beef. I'm gonna pick up this beef.
What?
No, fuck off.
That it?
Pick up the beef. Yep. Okay. Oh, of course. I need to step back. Here we go. Right. Come here. Pick up the beef. I'm gonna drop the beef.
By blade or by spell. If you want it dead, I'll make it dead. All you need to do is pay my fee.
I don't want to pay your fee. I want to give you beef. Eat beef. No. I tell you the Dragonborn comes. Who are you? Lizette. Wielding power of the ancient Nord arts. Believe the Dragonborn comes. The Dragonborn does come, and he's here, and he's going to use unrelenting force.
It's an end to the evil of all Skyrim's foes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I upset you? Oh, shit. It's the guards. Everything's paused. Oh, here we go. Right. Yep. Highborn. Nope. Highborn. Firebolt. Let's fucking go. What? Boom! 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 I'm out of magic. Run! Hello, Darkethus. I think... No, that's not Darkethus. No. I can't remember. Sweet Roll. I can't remember that guy's name, but he's part of the Thieves Guild quest. Hup! Boom! Yeah, you better be dead, son. Oh, here they come. Here they come, son. Damn it, I need... Yeah, I know you can't best. I need the impact. Look, there's a kid. I need the impact perk is what I need. Why can't I shout? Oh, because my shout isn't equipped, is it? I'm gonna die, but that's fine. I didn't plan on saving this, did I? Ah, I didn't even have time to shout Fusroda. God damn it. So anyway, that's the end of the stream. Thanks everyone for coming and watching. And yeah, like I said, hit subscribe and the notification button if you want to see me go live again. And I will end my stream the way I always do, which is by quoting the Korok seeds from Zelda Breath of the Wild. Bye-bye.